Okay, hi. So my presentation is Teaching Math Concepts with Picture Books, and the book I'm using is Racing Around, and it's dealing with perimeter, and this will be taught for third grade in Miss Knipping's classroom. So the Nebraska standards I found, the first one was just dealing with being able to find perimeter of various polygons. The second one is just being able to use correct tools and measurements to find that length. And then the last standard I found that I'd connect would be identifying and drawing rectangles with the same perimeter in different areas. And then my student-friendly objective is I can find the perimeter around various shapes. For the higher level thinking questions, I would stop at various places throughout the book and ask questions. So for the first one, I would stop on page 5. Here's a picture of what's going on at page 5. I would first have them find the perimeter around this athletic field, which they should be able to do in their head because they're working with pretty small numbers to find this perimeter. And I'd then have them compare that answer to what the perimeter of perimeter path is and ask them, is that longer or shorter? And then I'd have them turn to an elbow partner and discuss how they found the answer and is it longer or shorter than perimeter path. The second place I would stop in the book is on page 28 and 29, and I'd be asking which side of the race is longest and how do you know? This one could be trickier just because of how this picture is laid out. For example, on this side, this length is 3 and it's marked like that, but on this whole length, they have it kind of split up. They have only 4 kilometers marked right here and then 2 over here. So they'd have to add those 2 lengths up to make 6, which it might be kind of tricky for kids because they have to look at it differently, but it'd be a good one for them to turn to their elbow partner and discuss. For my math activity, I connected it directly with the book and was just kind of posed the challenge that Mike wanted to compete in a race again the next year, but wanted to make it longer, and this time he'd want it to be 25 kilometers long. And so I would have them create their own track using paper, pencils, and markers, and I would just challenge them to make it as unique as possible so that it wouldn't look like any of their classmates' tracks. So I saw a lot of activities in the math methods books, just dealing with finding perimeter around various shapes. So I thought it'd be interesting to kind of flip it on them and give them the perimeter to start and then have to come up with lengths that would work to meet the perimeter they're trying to make. I thought this task would be appropriate for Ms. Knipping's classroom because it allows them to work independently and at their own pace. A lot of the students are at different levels, and so this would challenge them to have to come up with the solution on their own to the problem, and then they'd be able to work at their own pace the whole time and not feel rushed by having a partner or anything. It connects directly to the picture book, and I thought they might be more invested and interested in this problem because it seems like they're solving a real-world problem. And then it can be easily tiered or extended, and I'll kind of talk about that more in the next slide. And then I also just thought it was a fun activity because it allows them to be creative and kind of take it wherever they want to go. So for tiering the activity to make it simpler, I'd have students there's 2 options. Create a race that would just be a perimeter of 15 kilometers, just like the one in the book. And for them to help them get ideas, I would allow them to reference the course in the book, but I'd still challenge them to make it different. And then another idea, if they just need a more concrete model, is that they'd be able to use base 10 blocks, and like each block would be worth like 1 kilometer, and they'd stack them on top of each other to create a course. And this would just help them visualize what they're creating more and be more hands-on. And then to make it more challenging, I would have them still create a course that the perimeter is 25 kilometers, but I would challenge them that their course needs to have at least 6 sides. And if they complete that, then I would ask them what's the maximum number of sides that their course can have with a perimeter of 25. One aha moment I had while teaching while coming up with this lesson is how fun it can be connecting a picture book with a lesson, how engaging it can be. At first I thought it'd be kind of challenging to find an activity that connected, but it actually wasn't hard at all, and I just feel like using picture books is more interesting to kids, keeps them engaged, and it makes it easier to connect it to real world problems. But yeah, that's everything I have. Thanks.